Well, now to Arsenal and what could be a season-defining moment in tomorrow's Europa League quarter-final second leg against Slavia Prague. Win, and they'll move on to the semi-finals. Defeat, and Mikel Arteta's side will be out of all cup competitions and really without any realistic chance of playing European football next year due to their disappointing Premier League campaign. Arteta, however, isn't even contemplating the prospect of no European football at the Emirates.
Very important for us, and this is our club. It's not individual interest, it's all a collective interest that we want to do well in every competition, and tomorrow games put us in a position to go into the semi-final or European competition, and this is exactly where this club has to be. That's why tomorrow we have to do our best to earn that.
Have you even thought of a plan or contemplated a scenario where Arsenal aren't playing European football?
No.
Is that just because you don't believe it's true, or just because you don't want to think about it?
Because I don't want to put my mind and transmit any of that to anybody, any of the players or anybody at the club.
So there you go. Positive mindset, you could call it. Let's talk more then about Arsenal with our reporter Darmish Sheth. Darmish, given what Arteta said just there, how significant then is this game tomorrow night?
Well, he's not playing it down.
No.
Let's be honest about it. He's not contemplating no European football at Arsenal next season. It is a huge game for Arsenal, potentially season-defining one, as you mentioned there. If you just look at the league table, they're in 9th position. Realistically, a Champions League finish, perhaps even a Europa League finish via their league position, looks very unlikely as it stands. That would mean no European football if they don't win the Europa League. For the first time in 26 years. They've qualified for European competition 26 seasons in a row, have Arsenal. Now, what impact would that potentially have? Finances is one, and therefore the knock-on effect to transfers. Look, Arsenal have had to do things slightly differently in the past few seasons anyway. They're quite used to this. Unfortunately, they're quite used to this. This is the 4th season in a row that they've had Europa League football. And it means that they've had to approach the transfer windows in slightly different ways. And if you add on the impact that the pandemic has had, and has had on every club, but Arsenal have been hit as well, £1 million a game, we're told, every time they don't play a game in front of fans at the Emirates. And add to that, back in the summer of 2019, when Unai Emery was the manager, they committed close to £160 million in transfers. Now, some people will say, well, that was in that summer, so why is it bleeding into future windows? That's because the way transfers are done, they'll commit a certain amount of money in one transfer window, but they'll continue to pay instalments of that transfer fee throughout the next years of the player's contract. So that's why the financial situation with the pandemic, with this previous spending, and with Europa League football for 4 seasons in a row means Arsenal have had to kind of tighten their purse strings a little bit. That said, it must be said that the Cronkies have supported Arteta when he's gone into the transfer market. A case in point is Thomas Partey. In the summer transfer window, £45 million in release clause was required to get him out of Atletico Madrid, and they did back Mikel Arteta to do that. Look, Arteta has said he's not contemplating no European football at all. Let us contemplate no European football for Arsenal. And as much as it looks negative for them financially, I just wonder, on the pitch, is there perhaps an avenue whereby the fixture list would be cleared up if they don't get through against Slavia Prague for next season, whereby they'll be playing potentially 1 game a week, and then they can make a real push towards those top 4 Champions League places, apart from having to have things like a Thursday night game, a Sunday game, a Thursday game, a Sunday game, which the Europa League will bring. But look, ideal scenario for Arsenal and Mikel Arteta would be to beat Slavia Prague tomorrow night and then go on to win the Europa League, hence qualification for the Champions League next season.
The point you're making about freeing up some space might be a bit of a hard sell to some Arsenal fans. I mean, look, from their perspective, how much pressure do you think Arteta is under?
Look, results will always dictate how much pressure a manager is under, but make no mistake about it, Mikel Arteta is the long-term project at Arsenal. If you go back to December 2019 when Arteta was appointed, he was appointed as the head coach. But there was a subtle difference in September 2020. He was actually given a promotion, was Mikel Arteta. So he went from head coach to manager. That was seen as a promotion because then he worked alongside Edu, and the two of them together under Vinay Venkatesham would sort out the transfer policy. So they were in charge of all of that, the comings and goings, and who would be coming in and out of that football club. And if you look at the restructure at Arsenal as well, the likes of Husfami and Rahul Senlehi, they both left to free up that and streamline that structure at the very top at Arsenal. And Edu and Arteta, they've got a big say, if not all the say, when it comes to transfers. And the trust from the board towards Arteta, the trust from Edu towards Arteta is there. And a case in point is the Mesut Ozil situation. You've got a player there who was earning £350,000 a week, who was playing regularly under Mikel Arteta. Then the lockdown happened. After the lockdown, even though he was on that much money and potentially their highest profile player, Mikel Arteta decided there and then, he's not in my plans. They couldn't offload him in the last summer transfer window, but they did manage to do it in January. So that very case is an example of how the board have looked at Arteta and said, we trust you, we trust your decisions, you are our long-term project here at this football club.
Now that makes sense of why he can be so bold then in the clip we just heard. And some positive news, Darmish, as well for Arsenal fans today with news of a new contract.
Yeah, look, Mikel Arteta confirmed the news that we brought you last week that the striker Folarin Balogun is close to signing a new deal. Now, he's into the final few months of his current contract, and all the money was on he was going to leave Arsenal Football Club. There were 3 offers on the table, concrete offers on the table, on a pre-contract that he would leave for free in the summer. One of those, we understand, was from Stuttgart. But look, he's now staying. 19 years old, highly rated at the club, still quite raw though. Hasn't featured in the Premier League at all for Arsenal. Has played in this season's Europa League, 4 substitute appearances, and he scored 2 goals. So I think they do rate him there at Arsenal. And this is what Mikel Arteta had to say when he was asked about the prospect of keeping Balogun at the club for the long term.
We're going to make it official when it's official and everything is done. But as I said before, I was being very positive that he wants to stay at the club. We want him to stay at the club. So we are very close.
How have you managed to get to this stage with him? Because it looked for all the world like he was going to be heading off at some point.
Just trying to, first of all, understand why he got to the point that he was really thinking about leaving the football club after being raised here, and the feelings that he has got towards the club. And once you understand the position of him, then try to explain what you want to do, how involved he's going to be in the project and how, and then get the full commitment from the club and support and Edu, which I think has done an incredible job as well.